Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Oceansix Future Past webinar. This is Trevor Brucato with RB Milestone Group, Oceansix's US-based investor relations firm. Oceansix is listed in the US on the OTCQB under the symbol AKMYF, and in Canada on the TSXV under the symbol OSIX. Joining us today is the company's CEO, Elad Hameiri, Business Development Director, Pia Ramon, and CFO, Salva Cabañas. The management team will be going through Oceansix's recent Q2 results, a brief overview of the company, and upcoming milestones. Following Oceansix's presentation, we'll be addressing questions that have been submitted during the registration process and those submitted live. If you are interested in asking a question, you can submit them in the Zoom Q&A module. Please note this presentation is being recorded today, August 29th, 2024, and will be made available on the company's website at oceansix.com and will be also emailed to all registrants. Following today's event, the company's investor survey will also be circulated. The results from the survey will develop trends on Oceansix's perceived strengths, weaknesses, and milestones, and will be very helpful in strengthening the company's investor communications efforts and guide the focus of upcoming events. So your participation will be much appreciated. Please note today's presentation may contain forward-looking statements that are subject to risks and uncertainties that may be out of Oceansix's control and should not be construed as a recommendation or a solicitation to buy or sell any security. For the company's full disclaimer, please visit their website at oceansix.com. Lastly, RB Milestone is not a registered investment advisor or broker-dealer. For more information on us, please visit rbmilestone.com. And now it is my pleasure to turn it over to Oceansix's CEO, Elad Hameiri. Elad, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Trevor. Much appreciate. Thank you all for attending and joining us. In today's presentation, we would like to take you through another reiteration of our company intro for the newcomers, and also a reminder for the investors that are going with us for the previous time. We will guide you through the financial statements of Q2 this year. Salva will provide you with the highlights of these financials. Then I will take back and cover some of the recent updates prior to the RePack acquisition. And before opening our Q&A, I will ask Pia to go and speak about the great e-commerce opportunity that we are developing together with RePack. So as Trevor did the hard part for me already, this is informative presentation with no any solicitation for investment. From corporate structure, Oceansix Israel is a holding company listed in Canada since 2021. We also are, as Trevor mentioned, registered in OTCQB in Frankfurt. It has 3 wholly owned subsidiaries, 2 R&D centers, one in Germany and another in Spain, which is where we are innovating and developing our future growth engines. Oceansix Spain is also where we are integrating in these days our recent RePack acquisition into. And the 3rd subsidiary is our thermoforming plastic factory in Spain, Plásticos Flomi, where we're currently generating the revenues in the group, which last year exceeded 3.3 million Canadian dollars. And as Salva will soon present, in the first 6 months of this year, we're already demonstrating growth comparing to the previous year. Speaking of revenues, this is the great time to dive into the financials, and I'm handing over into you, Salva.
Thanks a lot. Hi, everyone. I will be presenting the consolidated financial statements for H1 2024. So in terms of revenue, we increased in Flome from 1.39 million in 2023 to $1.55 million in 2024. This growth, which achieves 11%, it's mainly due to the enhancement of the commercial activity in the areas of the automotive and the food and beverage markets. In terms of gross profit, we remain flat in 2023 versus 2024. We reached about 16%. And in terms of expenses, we increased from $1.2 million to $1.6 million, so which is approximately 25% increase. This increase is mainly due to the increase in the headcount, professional services, and also expenses related to RePack acquisition as well. So finance expenses also increased since due to the shareholder facilities we got during 2024 and the last half of 2023. And bottom line, we increased losses from $1.1 million to $1.5 million. Next slide, please, Elad. In terms of the cash flow from operation, it increased in 2024 to $1.1 million versus $714,000 in 2023. And this is mainly due to the decrease in trade payables by $248,000. In terms of cash flow from investing, decreased in 2024, mainly to the acquisition of the property, plant and equipment, new machinery in Flome, and also due to the acquisition of intangible assets of RePack. In cash flow from financing, this is mainly coming from the proceeds from the shareholders' loan, and it increased from $846,000 to $1.1 million. Elad?
Thank you, Salva.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Salva. Salva is here with us and will be able to answer any further questions in the Q&A session concerning specific financial details. But here are my 3 financial highlights from the reports that we announced. The first one is that group revenues are growing year over year, which means that we are able to put Flome's business, the commodity business in the group, on track, and will most likely also achieve the expected growth this year. Nevertheless, the RePack business, which we are developing into new markets and new opportunities and basically creating things from scratch there in a market that is yet to exist, is still not profitable. We acquired a great solution with the right ingredients, from the brand footprint to the unit economics that generates decent sales margins per client, but it is still not profitable on the company level bottom line. At the end of the day, therefore, future scaling means keep investing in this growth engine. Thankfully, we benefit from strong support with our current shareholders, which means that we have the support to accomplish this business plan and grow this business opportunity with RePack further beyond. Now, let me take you guys through the recent business updates. In the past 3 months since we met, or maybe a month and a half since our AGM, France legislation is becoming very important for us, Oceansix and RePack. According to the French Anti-Waste Act for Circular Economy, by 2027, 10% of packages introduced into the French market must be reusable. Organizations with over 50 million annual turnover are required to meet these standards already next year. This is why we work to further develop our presence in France, especially with RePack, but also from the infrastructure perspective, and develop our own return logistics infrastructure. This is also why French is so important for us, and therefore we are certifying our packages with La Poste Reusable Packaging Return Program, which is the program we described in previous meeting, allowing flat rates for return logistics in France. And we are happy to announce that RP5 size S and M have already passed their restricted requirements of La Poste. And we also hope to get final confirmation for our RP6 versions in a matter of weeks from now. As for RePack sales, the opportunities as we said before, we acquired RePack not for their historic revenues, but for the great solution and its potential. We are now working together to identify the backlog opportunities. We identified over 250 potential clients that fits perfectly to RePack's offering today, especially in France. We contacted already more than a third of them. And in these days, we are finalizing the first contract in the RePack by Oceansix era. We will disclose, of course, more information once it's signed and sealed. And last, I'm sure all of you are interested to see where we're heading towards with this private placement that we announced back in June. I also surely believe that you are aware of the current stock price challenges that we faced ever since we go with this announcement, which were not in our favor and created challenging in closing this round with new investors. Nevertheless, since one's challenge is always an opportunity for others, and since we have this strong support from internal shareholders, we plan to close this private placement at full, bringing this 9 cents as a benchmark or as a floor, so we'll be able to act accordingly for future required capital increases. And we are in the process of finalizing this with regulatory amendment required by the TSX. A full disclosure for this will be published once we're done with the regulatory requirements. So in Q2, post-RePack acquisition, we have focused to finalize the RePack deal. We've been growing its great brand awareness, and we identify potential proof of concept clients for our RePack Beyond product outside of the fashion industry, the fashion category in e-commerce. These days, Q3 and 4, towards the end of the year, we will ramp up, we'll put strong efforts into ramping up the business with RePack sales in France, as well as building our own reverse logistics presence there. And we will, as I said before, very soon plan to announce closing the total amount of the private placement at a 15 million Canadian dollars valuation. And obviously, since this is only the beginning for us, it's a great time for me to hand over to Pia to guide you through the e-commerce opportunity that we are so passionate fulfilling. Pia?
Thank you very much. I'm happy to remind everyone that already knows us very well and introduce for the newcomers why we believe that reusable e-commerce packaging market, as well as our solution for it, especially after purchasing RePack, is a great opportunity for us. So please, next slide. When we look into the numbers, and that's why we decided to really focus our future business, oh, this was one too much, on reusable e-commerce packaging, is because there's a lot of trash happening on a daily basis. In the world, more than 180 billion parcels are shipped already in 2024. This means around 5,000 per second, just to make it more tangible or more understandable, and an average of 42 per person. So nearly every week, everyone gets a package, and this is only single use, means only waste. This problem, please next page, is growing. As e-com is super convenient, and I believe everyone shops online, of course, also packaging waste and packaging deliveries are increasing to, in 2030, to 260 billion parcels a year. In value, this is 90 billion, around 90 billion. So we see here a huge volume and value opportunity that we are entering. We, with our solution, next page, please, have a solution to lower this environmental impact that is being created day by day by this trashful single-use packaging. When we look into our solution that we bought now with RePack, we have proven that our environmental impact is much, much lower than any single use in the market, regardless of cardboard or plastic. So even after the second use already, we are break even with the CO2 compared to our single-use competitors, with minus 21% and minus 31%. But we're actually, after the 20th cycle or even after the 10th cycle, we'll be able to get minus 80% less CO2 reduction for our packaging versus single use. So this is, from an environmental standpoint, a great achievement, and this is something that we really believe in and really drives us on a daily basis to bring this to the market more and bring more clients to use our reusable packaging. Next slide, please. And we want to do it everywhere, and we can, because with RePack, we acquired also a global network for return systems. Global means really everywhere in the world our package can be returned, and also the future definitely is something that we look into going into North America and to Asia. For now, we focus on Europe, and with Europe, we have a full network with the post mailboxes, as well as in some countries we have testing different channels, because we definitely understand that we need to improve our infrastructure to be competitive and make it easier and more convenient for the consumer to return our package, because this is where we believe we can win. But already for now, we have a network that really works very well and that allows us to act everywhere in the world with our RePack solution. This doesn't mean that we, as I said, jump into the whole world from the beginning. So please, next slide. We're concentrating definitely into Europe, and we're concentrating and penetrating the top 3 e-com markets. This is France, UK, and Germany. For this year, as Elad mentioned, we're really focusing on France because the infrastructure is really in our favor and allows us to offer a solution that is not only environmentally friendly, but also economically very valuable solution for our clients. So phase 1 is France, and then within the next year, we start already exploring clients in Germany and UK, with also the infrastructure that we're building in these markets. So this means for us really focusing on business growth in these top countries with a unified sales force from Oceansix and RePack. And we updated our business plan and our goals and currently fulfill all the sales backlog that RePack had and was not able to win because of the size of RePack back then. And we're really strongly looking into new customer acquisition in the markets that I told you. Next slide, please. What we offer at the moment is a cycle price of 150, and that's very conservative, but this is what we're currently offering in the French market because we have tested, we have proven with current existing clients that this is something that the client is willing to pay. We really focus on only big clients, and this is something that we understood that we can only, this is a volume play, so we can only win if we have clients that minimum ship 120K a year. Our cost is €1 one time. This is the actual bag that we produce one time. And then we have constant cost, which is return and refurbishment, which is around €1. When we look at the unit economics opportunity, this means that we are break even already after the 2nd cycle of our product. So after the 3rd one, we are creating a positive sales margin. This is great news. So we have really the opportunity for sales margin. This means, on the other hand, obviously, that we need to ensure that there is a high return rate. This is consumer education and infrastructure. And this is something that we have in the back of our mind or in the front of our mind and are strongly working on to make this even more convenient and ensure this return rate to be stable and even increase. Next slide, please. Last slide for me, just as a reminder again, what is the opportunity with the business that we have, with the cost structure and the revenue structure that we are looking at. If we are very conservative and we talk about a 4% market share in the top 5 European countries, so additional countries to France, UK, and Germany, we are speaking about an opportunity of €500 million, almost €400 million in year 5. If we are a little bit more optimistic, and this is something that is almost realistically, if we get 5% market share in total Europe, we see there is a lot of players in the market, but they will consolidate at some point. So with 5% market share in total Europe, we'll have a $1 billion company in year X. And this is obviously what we are aiming for. And this is not the business plan. This is really just an opportunity of reusable packaging market. Just I want to state here again. And that's it from my side. As a reminder, I'm happy to answer any questions, handing over to Trevor for the Q&A session.
Thank you, Pia, Elad, and Salva. All right, so we'll be opening up to questions. Again, if you have any questions, you can submit them in the Q&A module. Let's kick off with some of the questions that were submitted during the registration process. This one has to do with the financing. So perhaps, just based on your high confidence level, Elad, that you mentioned in the prepared remarks on the closing of the $3 million placement at 9 cents. You do anticipate this closing in the near term with existing shareholders. So perhaps we can elaborate on this a little bit. What are the use of proceeds and how will this new injection of capital help advance operations?
Thank you, Trevor. Indeed, this is an important question. And as we disclosed before, the repack business and scaling into these new territories and building these opportunities in markets where such opportunities are yet to be exist, or such solution is yet to be exist, but the opportunity definitely lies, requires capital. So this is the main source of the main reason for us requiring this new injection of capital, and this is where most of the, let's say, proceed will be targeted to. In this point, I would like to distinguish once again between the commodity type of business that we have, this 3.3 million Canadian dollars that we did last year, and Plásticos Flomi, and the current business that is growing, which is nice, but scaling the business or the growth engine with repack, this requires more capital. And the part of that capital for scaling is divided into getting into the new territory, recruit new people, new salespersons in France, and establish our presence there during the upcoming 12 months also. So these are what why we are required with this injection of funds. And I'm sure that there will be additional opportunities in the futures, because this business will require more access and will bring more opportunities for let's say, financial dialogue with us.
Thank you, Elad. Can you go through a little bit more on the competition front? Obviously, the acquisition with repack has put you guys in a better position, but maybe you can reiterate the landscape here.
Yeah, I will start, and I will ask Pia to add additional information if I'm missing crucial stuff. I would take one step back. Where we wanted to do so by ourselves. Investors that runs with us for the last year know that we had this e-commerce opportunity in discussion already, and we have developed our own type of prototypes and patent our product. And we felt like we bring strong, significant industrial scaling opportunities and know-how and skill set from current shareholders, Elad Hameiri from Cabka, and the industrial background of the group with recycled plastic materials, which are the core material source for these reusable packaging. And we did it ourselves. We tried to identify the potential opportunities for us to rapidly scale this into the market. And the most paramount type of opportunity out there was repack as a brand, because of what Pia covered in the footprint that they have, the solution, the 10 years into the market, the experience, the know-how of what is the right way to offering this, and the fact that this creates unit economics that make sense to scale with. And I think that combining these two competences together put us in that landscape of maybe potential competitors at a strong pole position. A part of this, we have our own specific features. Yeah, the package repack Beyond will be modular, will be inflatable. We will have additional features into it which you don't see with any other of the offerings. Most of the offerings in the market are focused into the product itself, which is a plastic bag with no strong infrastructure for reverse logistics. And we think that together with RePack, we are able to execute that business plan and to build the solution which that problem is currently missing in these specific territories. Are there challenges? Of course. Are we sure that we are aware of all the challenges out there? No, but I think that we have our long years of experience of identifying how such a solution needs to be introduced to the market, who are the right clients for us, and who are the right partners for us. And therefore, we strongly believe that we will have the opportunity to scale this with RePack. Pia, did I miss anything from competitive analysis?
No, great answer.
And might be a question for Pia here. Can you reiterate the unit economics on the reusable packaging solution?
Actually, this is something that Elad is answering much better.
Well, I would like to put the main challenge here into the discussion. Yeah, why this market doesn't scale? Because return logistics is expensive. Try to send a package from your place in the US or in Canada to a friend. The smallest size of an envelope, if it carries something or it's a bit thick, will cost like 3-4 euros just to be shipped from one place. So the fact that someone needs to return this back as a backbone through the post office will bring significant challenges to this market. Now, with RePack, we have already flat rate for worldwide shipping of less than 2 euros. Which is already better than what one will be able to send. But this is not enough. We are focusing into the territories together with RePack to lower these prices even more. And today, in France, as Pia mentioned, the unit economics, if you look into the conservative approach of what would be the highest cost for us to manufacture and to ship back, and the lowest cost that we will be able to price it to the market, we still create this 1.5 euros as a price and 1 euro for operating the logistics part. And then when our client look into the opportunity of whether it makes sense to manufacture new bags or to reuse the existing one, you're reusing the existing one, make more sense because it's cheaper than manufacturing new bags. Are we there already? Is the market educated enough to provide very low reverse logistics prices? No, this is why the scaling takes time. This is why competitors are not being able to fulfill what we are able to do with RePack. But this advantage would not last forever. We will have to keep improving our unit economics. And the first thing is to make sure that we have the infrastructure to reduce the reverse logistics. The second thing is to provide a better product to address more type of clients, rather only the fashion category where the goods that you are shipping doesn't require any protection or any temperature control and so on and so forth. So with Oceansix, proven and protected with our intellectual property already, we have this journey of being able to offer such a solution, which is beyond the category of fashion, where also we identify the willingness to pay is more attractive because products are more expensive.
Elad, would you say that it's the strategy here is a little bit more demand-centric and speaking to or geared towards a country like Germany, where there's a mandate for this type of solution, and to add to that, the traditional non-recyclable or non-reusable packaging solutions might be cheaper today in comparison to your unit economics. But then there's that whole incentive program that might net out to be equivalent, if not better, down the line. So maybe you can talk about geographic differences and your strategy moving forward in comparison to traditional ways of packaging being manufactured today?
Yeah, I would like to answer in two folds. To the extreme, we obviously going to target our business to the territories, to the geolocations where market education, legislation, clients awareness is tending towards reusable packaging. Of course, we won't, or try to sell our solution in territories who doesn't care less about reusable and sustainability. But, and this is the other side of that coin, we are not building our business plan and opportunity based on legislation or based on mandate that government will put into their economics in order to make sure that our unit economics makes sense to our clients. And in that sense, what we do now until market will reach stage where this is obvious for all of us that we are not receiving packages with a single-use material and throwing it to the waste because it's bad for the planet. We are receiving this with a reusable solution, and then we do something and act accordingly. Until we reach that level of trend making, of trend education, there are already clients and consumers that are concerned about it. And we see this demand coming from the clients. They are pledged to their sustainability goals, and they understand that shipping single-use materials as waste harm their sustainability goals, their pledge towards net zero status by X years from now. So they are coming to us and say, okay, this 80% reduction of carbon emission per shipment, let's speak. And this is what we are aiming our business plan towards. So long story short, of course, future legislation, future mandate for government will support us even better. But if we will be ready with our business plan, we will be ready with our solution before that comes, because it makes economical sense to our clients, their users, and ourselves, then we will win the market once legislation kicks in.
Perfect. Thank you, Elad. Can you discuss any advancements on the customer incentive program as it relates to the returning of the reusable package?
As disclosed in our last call, we are in the process of exploring many ideas of how we can incentivize these end consumers, together with our clients, of course, for doing what is required and returning the reusable packages. We are discussing deposit mechanism, vouchers, incentives from our clients, carbon emission credits. All of these are still, in innovative stage, where one client will require this and another will work that. What we do put effort into is to actually test this with the market. So we are offering this to our clients, so they will offer this to their clients, and by educating their clients or going through the process of education, we'll know what works better. RePack has extensive experience in that, offering to the end consumers comparing to other competitors. So we already have a great, let's say, starting point comparing to how is the right way to approach this reusable packaging. But we definitely plan to learn more about the right incentives. And I also think that incentives program for end consumers will vary based on their locations and their type of goods that they have consumed. I mean, if you are purchasing electronics and you paid 200 euros for a secondhand smartphone, you have maybe other expectations to a consumer that purchase food or something else, which a much lower value of a order. So we don't know exactly how this will work, but we are definitely exploring this incentive programs, and we already have some proven track record with RePack for what was working for them in the past.
Thanks, Elad. There's some questions here around the revenues across the businesses, specific sales figures for FlowMe, HydroQuick, Oceansix / the Ecom Pack, and then Oceansix or RePack by Oceansix. I know at the moment that you're not separating those sales figures per business unit, if you will. But maybe you can go into a little bit more detail on, any sort of consolidated financials down the road, including any sort of sales forecast for the upcoming years.
Yeah, so financial consolidation is not my territory. Maybe Salva will take this, but I would just like to emphasize once again something I said before. There is the clear distinguish between what Oceansix acquired with Plasticos FlowMe and the innovation around HydroQuick and the thermoforming plastic product that we have, which, as Salva mentioned, address the automotive sector, the food and beverage, and the agriculture. These business lines are, developed and growing in a certain pace. We obviously expect this to grow much faster because we have high expectations from ourselves, but it is growing very well. Yeah, 40% almost year last year comparing to 2022, and we plan to keep this tendency. And there's the other part of the business, which is RePack, and this is what we discussed so far, entering into a territory where that business line is yet to be defined. What is the business? How is it growing? How is it scaling? So we are building this together. The pay-per-use model that we are now offering is a very straightforward one, but maybe we will have opportunities to improve this by renting, by leasing, by something else. So we are still not clear of what the future will bring us, but we know what we can execute today in that business line. The detailed breakdown of the commodity business is not interesting for us to discuss. We can take this maybe and disclose something if this is really important, specific questions arise, but I would like us to stay very focused on the opportunity with the e-commerce. And this is why we are here. This is why we are passionate to come to work when we are innovating this reusable packaging industry.
So continuing to advance, say, the non-core businesses, those continue, to grow from a revenue perspective. But the low-hanging fruit here and the bigger picture item, the flagship products, relate to the sustainability, specifically around the reusable packaging. You guys combined, the Ecom Pack combined with RePack is front and center. So just wanted to make sure that that is clear to the audience. The other questions, we'll take a couple more. And then this is kind of for, all three of you, if you have any opinions, but what would you say, from your point of view, any sort of specific milestone that you would say is a big de-risking factor or a near-term inflection point, again, in your opinion?
I will take the first one, but then we must have three, right? No, so obviously the first milestone that we need to achieve is closing this private placement offering that is open, bring the company to a floor of a valuation of 15 million Canadian dollars, and build upon this the financial strategy for us for the near and long-term future, of course. But the point in time where we will say, okay, risk is really less of our, let's say, concerns, and we now have the opportunity to scale, is once we gain traction with the current offering in the market and join new clients. So we'll reach the levels of numbers of volumes that Pia mentioned before, which will put us in, understanding that the concept is not just discussions. It's happening. It's generating the gross sales, the gross margin sales, and it's a way for us to scale even beyond. And this will be most likely in France and maybe Germany, and most likely within the next 6 to 12 months. Good.
Well, last question. You already touched on a little bit, but just for, if anyone does want to come back to this portion of the webinar, a little bit of a summary, and I'll put the ball in your court, Elad, on, the upcoming milestones on a timeline basis, if you can, so investors can keep track of.
Yeah, so I would focus in the next, let's say, 3 to 6 months in the following, let's say, news to be followed by potential investors. Yeah, one is, what are we doing with a private placement? I covered this already. The second is the traction that we are gaining in France, both from sales perspective as well as from reverse logistic infrastructure. We are building our own to prepare ourselves for the competition. If it's efficient enough, we have lower prices. If we have lower prices, we have larger market share. So this is something that I would pay attention to make sure that RePack is gaining in the next 3 to 6 months. And the second part I would pay attention to is whether or not we are able to go beyond the, let's say, fashion category where all the others are playing. Okay, and I know my answers. I'm not allowed to disclose anything at this stage, of course, but this would be a great indicator for investors that we are not speaking about a limited market, but much more wider opportunity. And this is also something that we are working very hard to achieve, and we hope to be able to achieve it within that period of time that mentioned before.
Well, thank you, Elad, Pia, and Salva. And thanks to everyone for joining today. As a reminder, please keep an eye out for today's recording and Oceansix's brief investor survey, which we'll be emailing to you all shortly. Again, your participation would be much appreciated so we can analyze the trends and advance our investor communications efforts for future one-on-one meetings and for our future webinar events. If you have any questions, you can submit them to oceansix@rbmilestone.com. These are questions that are new. We have received those that have come through again and have addressed those that have come through registration and in live format. So if there are any additional questions, please email oceansix@rbmilestone.com. Thanks again. That concludes today's event. Hope you all have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Bye.
so much.